When we talk Flash games, like real proper originals, though you may not notice it, often one name pops up, especially on Newgrounds, of an almost legendary status: Evil Dog. Now look, I know the games weren't all made by them alone, and a lot were in collaboration with Sick Death, but I need a title for this video, so we're going to stick with that. Now there isn't much info on the origins, apart from a few posts here and there 2003, which is bloody hell, 20 years ago. But what we do know is the man has a lot of variety going on, making games, music videos and live streaming. That aside though, the games are what they're best known for, and we're going to try and keep our focus on them. So let's just commence straight into the first game that hit the scene in 2004, the original
O Matic, bitch.
With a limited yet tasteful sound bank for composing songs, it's not bad at all for being a 19-year-old Flash game packed with extremely 2000s edgy vibe and a collection of emo pop-punk riffery and energy. It's actually surprising how rewarding it feels. Check out this sick thing I made. I mean, sure, it may sound a little compressed, and there's not much to do besides that, but for what it is, it's fun, and was one of the biggest hits of the year, and 2004 was, as it seems, a great year for Newgrounds. Hey, if you get bored of music, you can press the Dude button to get a cameo from Postal Dude and 2 penguins.
Dude! Dude! Dude!
Although the gameplay is good for a while, what this game lacks, its sequel would massively improve upon, but we'll get to that later. For now, in terms of games at least, we move on 4 years to 2008 with Z-Rox, which in some ways is basically the opposite of O Matic, looking all polished, advanced and modern, though the game itself is quite straightforward. Well, for most people. The core concept is basically a single line you can see through and a letter or even words sliding through on the more advanced levels. It does make you use your brain and think, or just spam the keyboard until you get it right. Either way, a very simple but interesting concept. I can see how this might help train perception or something like that. There's not much else I can really say about it though, other than maybe a comparison to a crossword puzzle. So let's move to the real treats of the pack, a golden year if you will, 2010. Starting the year off with O Matic 2. Now listen, I've spent genuinely more hours in this Flash rhythm game than actual AAA titles I spent money to get. It is that good. The song maker has been completely refined with a whole van load of sounds, and you get 2 guitars, bass and drums for your band, all fully customizable down to the stickers on your guitar and the moods of the members. You also get the ability to actually play the songs yourself through the implemented rhythm game element. It's pretty dang fun. You can get Guitar Hero type streaks for playing the right notes. But, just as well, if you don't, then you're gonna have a whole lot of coordination destroying sounds similar to the Metalocalypse sensor. But more importantly, the playing goodness level will go down, which if you're playing a gig will make the audience boo you off stage. Now, speaking of gigs, I really like the progression in this game, because you have to basically play gigs out of a garage to earn money, and then use that money to get better gigs, getting more fans at gigs, therefore getting more money for better gigs to get more fans. Capiche? For real though, it's nicely balanced and rewarding when you do it right. There's also these random encounter events with a cast of wacky characters which, let's just say, are very of the time.
I'd pwned you, as you would say.
You're pathetic.
They're there if you want them, and even the intro screen warns you about it.
This game contains explicit language and themes not suitable for young
Welcome to O Matic.
But I personally find the real enjoyment to be the music aspect. Oh, by the way, you can get actual guitar tabs to play these songs. I can play my Flash game song in real life, as well as a share feature to let your friends or even complete strangers load up the songs you've made, which is incredibly cool. As well as a whole lot of Easter eggs such as stage items and the notorious sell out button. I've spent the most hours on this game out of the entire catalogue, or hell, any Flash game at all. Check it out if you're interested. I can almost guarantee at least a bit of fun. Now, next up, just a few months later, we have Hippolyta, which is a turn for the interesting. It's got some pretty neat visuals, a pretty hype intro, and wait a sec, I can't show that on YouTube. That's better. Anyway, the game looks remarkably polished and well animated, including the physics. Now, there's only one problem that even the game itself warns you of: the brutal difficulty level. Now, this is an on-the-go side-scroller, so obstacles come fast. And when I say fast, I mean f***ing fast. If you don't have the reflexes, you are guaranteed to come to a grisly ending, even from something as simple as a tree branch or falling off your horse. Which is why you need armor to protect your assets. If you do manage to get to the end by some miracle, you are greeted with a quick cutscene from our narrator, and that's it. That's it? After all the 5 minutes I watched someone else go through? I think it's pretty neat though, and hey, I'm not one to criticize artistic direction, so if this video gets age restricted, at least we still have our integrity. Just a little after that we got Pixevo, The Mountain. A classic side-scroller pixel-type game where the objective is to collect these little Pac-Man pills so you can grow and be able to better fund your narcotics addiction. I mean, now the gameplay is a little finicky, as it is Flash and you have to line up the jumps just right so that you don't clip through. The bigger you get, the more you have to collect. It's a cute little game, but nothing really that special. It even has a speedrun achievement for completing in less than 15 minutes. Though I guess now it could be like a minimalist version of Hollow Knight, just with levers, which I still haven't figured out how to pull down, and evolution. Come on. Come on, just let me get... Now, it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. The Golden Goose, one of the most popular Flash games ever made. Ah, who am I kidding, it's Road of the Dead. Made for Halloween 2010, this game takes influence from almost all that have come before it. Start off a saga that will last for years and still be requested to be revived today. You play as John Kreisman, a mechanic who overhears a radio broadcast from the military to quarantine the entire city. Now, if you've seen any zombie media ever, you know this is bad. So our protagonist decides to grab his trusty Mustang with the interior of the 70s one for some reason and hit the highway, avoiding many obstacles, crashed cars, civilians, random stuff, the US military who get extremely pissed off at you during the course of the game, and of course the actual zombies. Now, there's a surprising amount of consideration in the gameplay, as most of the obstacles are procedurally generated and the game is separated into lots of different levels with your destiny, a mountain tunnel escape lying ahead. Of course, there are other gameplay modes too, but this is the main one everyone usually plays. Now, you won't get very far by being stuck and exploding or dying eventually, so you have to use the RP points you earn during the run to soup up your car to protect yourself from basically anything that can and will get in your way. Don't ask me how exactly that works, but I heard a theory that the failed runs are happening in your head, and John kind of hints at this with his commentary, so we'll go with that. It'll take some time for even the very skilled to beat, and the story is told very nicely through radio chatter and an increasing lack of civilians and destruction as you progress.
Sir, we have reports that 12 of our forward posts were completely overrun in the last 10 minutes.
Where are the troops now?
Scattered, trying to regroup, sir.
Damn it! Have them fall back and, regroup northwest near the Brighton Bridge.
Once you do finish an escape with your near maxed out stats, spoiler alert, okay, you ready? The military takes a page out of Resident Evil 3's book and nukes the entire city. treating you to quite a spectacular ending and exhilarating at times, almost sad final level, cause the voice acting is actually pretty darn good.
We're still up there that we did the right thing.
No! Sir, we see a lot of undead movement. Shit! It didn't work! It didn't work!
We failed, son.
And in classic zombie media fashion, we get a bittersweet ending with the plan ultimately failing. I'm not going to go into the lore too deep in this video, but it's certainly a spectacle to behold. And personally, I would love to see something like this done with modern computing power and game engines. How cool would that be? The next also Halloween-themed game is far more wholesome, and pretty basic once again. Carve a cute or not so cute pixely pumpkin and share it with your friends. Yeah, there you go, do what you want. It's a canvas to let your artistic desires run wild. Yeah. Honestly, I don't have much to say about it other than the less than subtle artwork posted since its release, so let's move on to Christmas 2010, although it may just as well fit the Halloween category. Poltergifts, a top-down enemy defense game. Unwrap gifts on December 25th to get weapons or ghoulies that are going to try and get you. And although they aren't exactly world athletes, you do have to choose wisely when to conserve ammo and who to attack first. It's a nice bit of strategy, but the real treats come when you check out the other game modes. Introducing the most overpowered weapon in gaming history, the bowling ball. This thing will plow through enemies like it's nothing, and if you line up a shot just right, even on the later levels, you can just sit back and let your perfect bowling skills do all the work. Some of the designs are kind of fun and interesting, but I don't really have that much else to say about it. So let's jump ahead yet another few months to 2011 with the continuation of the Dead saga with Lab of the Dead. Now this is technically a mobile game, which will become a trend later, but it's got some nice lore and quite a few gameplay mechanics, while at the core being a sort of experiment simulator. Though nothing too grisly, you have to perform tests on someone from a cast of several undead subjects to uncover the story as you go along. It's got a pretty neat level up system with certain objectives you need to complete to both unlock the chances to get better results from your tests and more resources to perform them with. But the real treats are the slow unravelling of the story, which you gradually unlock every now and then by getting enough RP points from tests and reactions to complete tasks which will progress the story onwards. The reaction system, which you get the points for, is also fairly advanced depending on the subject's hunger, mood and humanity levels, and the many ways you can alter them. It's a neat little game with some nice mechanics that doesn't seem like it's spread too thin or dragging on for too long, and though it may not be as spectacular as Road of the Dead, it's definitely a nice follow-up for something a little more laid back and atmospheric. In Christmas 2012, we got Frozen Pixel Hunt, a Where's Waldo type finding game with various characters and pop culture references, which is still rated E despite the violence and chaos that is happening. Now the canvas is very detailed, so there's a good amount of stuff packed in, some more blatant and some references not so obvious. The only problem though is that you have to really know what you're looking for, because the game banks on you knowing every character and pop culture reference, which has only gotten tougher since the release of this game. Still, despite the chaos portrayed, it is still somehow carrying a wholesome Christmas vibe, and that's probably the main selling point. Little, but sweet, and that's what it's really about. 2013, baby, a whole lot of stuff happened this year, but let's start with the greatest Flash game of all time, Segway of the Dead. Pretty much speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Need more speed! Faster!
Riding on a Segway, riding on a Segway. I am riding on the Segway. Yeah, riding on the Segway, really good idea. Unless you're fucking zombie, then they'll probably kill you and then you'll die. Yeah!
Okay, so it's basically an April Fool's joke with no win function implemented, but that ending is peak Flash era internet. As far as I'm concerned, it's canon. X Redhorn, a pixel shoot 'em up. Simple game, but executed quite nicely. The goal is to protect the main ship carrying something or other from baddies with all kinds of sci-fi tech, watching not to explode yourself too. Not forgetting an upgrade and level system, but it's the best part of the game, is by far the soundtrack, in my opinion. Just listen to that pixel hardcore punk. Yeah! The game's alright for being a bit of fun, but it did seem to occasionally break on the first level where I would either get lost or the enemies would simply stop appearing, leaving me stuck. But hey, I'll take it. It's worth booting up this thing just for that sick 16-bit soundtrack. And now, the hype machine that was, and still is, Road of the Dead 2. Being a highly requested game after the success of the original, it was only a matter of time till we got a sequel. It is quite a lot more fleshed out than the original, still retaining all of the same game modes and adding new ones such as the level creator, which allowed players to create and share entire custom campaigns, if they wanted to, with the customization level being pretty in-depth. The story mode, though, is the real highlight of the game, since you now have two characters that you can switch between during gameplay with unique weapons and skill items. Yup, you have to multitask between driving and shooting now too. But to make this easier, I don't think they throw quite as many obstacles at you. However, zombies are now stronger and more prone to cling to the hood of your car, meaning you've got to act quick to get them off or you'll come to quite the cinematic grisly end. The story is divided into sections, including Suburbs, the highway, which actually has a cameo from the protagonist of the first game, which is an incredibly cool detail, while still keeping the story elements being transmitted over the radio, and finally a standoff, while waiting to get rescued, which is a nice change of pace. And speaking of change of pace, you can now stop at points during your runs to fix a vehicle, reload ammo, or get better abilities, which allows for uninterrupted gameplay, which is certainly a neat touch, along with the better looking changing environments and challenge of multitasking. This might actually appeal to a lot of people more than the original, even for one reason or another. The whole game feels like a tied together movie, and is just about everything you could ask for a sequel that still keeps the original's values. Touch the Core 3. I guess this was a little side project since Evil Dog is only credited as doing the music. But it's basically just a classic physics puzzle challenge game. Nothing that special, but you can try a few strategies and see how well you can figure the levels out. Then, rounding off the year, we have Freako Lantern, which might be the weirdest game out of the entire catalogue, still keeping the core concept of leveling up and being able to level up better. I didn't play too much of it, because for one it took ages to load now that Flash is dead, and the game has a slight sense of unsettlement. Not just because you're some kind of deformed monster kid, you get a boss battle. At the end of the stages, you usually have to steal candy to get stronger and sneak about. Yes, that's not a joke. I'm not quite sure how they came up with this concept, but hey, it's there if you want it. I really don't have that much to say about it. 2014. Now this is where things get a little tricky. Story Shift doesn't work. Beast Fury Chibi online, so it doesn't really work either. Ninja Yubi doesn't work. Choke Point doesn't even have any game links anymore. But most tragically of all, Range of the Dead, which has some really advanced trajectory physics down to the wind, and a cool story. But it requires a Unity web plugin, which has sort of been discontinued. So all that's really left of these games is gameplay that's been recorded years ago, so I can't really judge them if I haven't actually played them. So we're gonna have to sadly skip those entries. Sorry. Starting with the Blind Swordsman, set as a medieval fighter with a twist. You guessed it, you're blind, so you have to use surround sound to predict where your enemies are. An innovative concept. I have a set of speakers, but the timing has to be so precise to actually get your enemies, and because you can't see, it's likely going to take you a fair couple retries to beat, though I have seen some people describe it as being exceptionally easy. I don't know, maybe I just suck, so I didn't get very far, but the art style is pretty good, and it's an interesting concept when you basically, the core element of the game is removed from you, and you have to guide yourself purely by sound design. Then the last game from 2014 that still manages to function is the Halloween-themed Smash from Beyond. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Something tells me these guys really love Halloween. Basically, you have to scan the type of pumpkin that shows up on the monitor and the monster pumpkins and smash or not smash the ones that are bad. If you fail or you let too many bad ones through, destroy the machine or smash too much. Again, pretty simple, but hey, you get to smash stuff. No complaints here. And finally, 2017, we got Meat Marathon. Kind of a joke game. Or is it? I mean, the description reads, do you have what it takes to go beyond your limits? To surpass the toughest challenge? To never give up? This game isn't just a game. It's a testament to your willpower. A tale of redemption for your soul. Can you go all the way? We shall see. And the game does kind of live up to that. You mash space to jump this hunk of meat up a loop street with these extremely motivational quotes to keep you going till you get bored, give up, or fall asleep. But I mean, the game is what it claims to be. A testament to how far your willpower will really carry you. But I guess you could say the game is very bare bones. And that's it. So, we round off the Flash era. What are they up to nowadays? Well, although not that active, Evil Dog has become a Montreal-based studio with some occasional Twitch streams on the side, and have apparently been developing a new fighting game called They Rule the Night with some saucy design pictures online, to say the least. That won't stop people from requesting O Matic 3 or Road of the Dead 3, which are basically the Newgrounds equivalents to Half-Life 3. For real though, I'm interested to see what they're going to do next, because you never know. Personally, I hope for a return with another great game, now perhaps of an official status too. If there's one thing you can learn from these games, it is even if you have a simple idea, try to make it as good as you can and flesh it out while keeping the core value simple and fun, even with limited resources. So who knows what the future might bring? It will surely be interesting to see what they do next. Thanks for watching. And R.I.P. Flash.